My Uncle Frank retired 3 years ago. No side businesses, no inheritance, just a 40-year career at a manufacturing plant in Ohio and a modest $401,000. Last Thanksgiving, he pulled me aside and whispered something that genuinely stopped me cold. He said, "I have more money today than I did the day I retired." And I'm thinking, Frank, you haven't worked in 3 years. How does that even compute? So I did what anyone curious would do. I started digging, and what I found out. Frank isn't a fluke. This is quietly happening all across America. Millions of retirees watching their net worth climb while they are sleeping in, fishing on Wednesdays, and finally catching up on decades of neglected hobbies. Today, I am breaking down exactly why this happens, and I promise you, by the end of this video, you're going to look at retirement completely differently. First up, the tax code finally starts working in your favor. Your entire working life, the tax code treated your paycheck like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, Medicare, all of it chipped away before a single dollar hit your bank account. For a lot of American households, that's 30 to 40 cents gone from every dollar earned. Gone. But retirement flips the entire equation. Your taxable income drops dramatically. Social Security has its own favorable tax treatment. Often only half of it even counts as taxable. Roth accounts, tax-free withdrawals entirely, stack in the enhanced standard deduction for people over 65. And suddenly, you might be spending 60 grand a year while the IRS only sees 25. That gap, that is real money you get to keep. It's not a loophole, it's how the system was actually designed to work. You just had to live long enough to benefit from it. Reason 2. Your expenses quietly collapse. Here's something nobody puts on the spreadsheet when they're calculating retirement. Working is expensive. The commute, the work wardrobe, the overpriced lunch near the office, the daycare, the college tuition, the mortgage with 18 years left on it, all of that is bleeding your paycheck dry while you are earning it. Fast forward to retirement. The mortgage is paid off. The kids are self-sufficient adults. You're cooking at home because you actually have time to cook. You stopped buying $14 salads at the corporate cafeteria. You're not dry cleaning 3 suits a month. I've seen families cut their monthly spending by 40% just from elimination, not sacrifice. Elimination. Things they were paying for that retirement made unnecessary. That's not cutting back. That's financial freedom showing up disguised as a lower grocery bill. The third reason is that compound interest shifts into overdrive. People always picture compound interest wrong. They imagine it as this gradual, steady incline, like a gentle hill. It's not. It's a hockey stick. Flat for years, and then almost vertical at the end. By the time most Americans retire, they've hit the steep part of that curve. Think about it this way. Someone who contributed $250,000 of their own money over a 35-year career might retire with a portfolio worth $900,000 or more. The extra $650,000, that's not their paycheck. That's their money growing on itself, year after year after year. And here is the part that catches people off guard. The growth doesn't stop at 65. As long as you are withdrawing responsibly, not raiding the whole account, your remaining investments keep compounding. The portfolio keeps growing even while you're spending from it. It's the financial version of a perpetual motion machine, and it only gets more powerful the longer you leave it alone. Fourth, Social Security is a bigger deal than you think. Yeah. Everyone has the same knee-jerk reaction. Social Security is broken. It'll be gone by the time I need it. Look, the political debate is real. But right now, today, Social Security is paying out, and the average American retiree is collecting close to $1,800 a month. Married couples offer north of $3,000 combined. Now think about what that guaranteed income does for your investment portfolio. If Social Security is already covering your rent and groceries and utilities, you're not forced to liquidate your investments to survive. They just sit there, compounding, growing. And because Social Security has cost of living adjustments built in, your benefit actually rises as inflation rises. So even as prices go up, your income keeps pace without you doing a single thing. Try negotiating that with a former employer. Reason number 5. Medicare cuts your biggest wildcard expense. If you've ever looked at private health insurance quotes for someone in their early 60s, you already know the number is alarming. We're talking $1,500 to $2,500 a month for a couple. That is a second mortgage just to stay insured before Medicare kicks in at 65. Once you hit that eligibility date, your healthcare costs can drop by 70 or 80%. Yes, Medicare isn't free. And yes, most people add a supplement plan. But the total bill is still dramatically lower than private coverage. That's potentially $1,500 extra a month staying in your pocket every single month, invested at even a modest return. That's life-changing money accumulating in the background while you're worrying about something else entirely. Next, downsizing turns your home into a cash event. You spent 30 years building equity in a home you needed when the kids were around and life was loud. Now it's quiet, and that house, that 4-bedroom house with the big yard you no longer want to maintain, is sitting on top of what might be your single biggest asset. Sell it, buy something smaller, or rent and invest the entire proceeds. The IRS gives married couples up to $500,000 in capital gains exclusion on a primary residence sale. So a lot of that profit, tax-free. Retirees who make this move often unlock 6 figures of liquid capital in a single transaction, and then watch their monthly expenses drop because the new place has lower taxes, lower utilities, lower insurance, and zero maintenance headaches. One decision, multiple financial wins stacked on top of each other. Reason 7 is optional income with no strings attached. A lot of retirees end up doing something they actually enjoy and get paid for it, not because they have to, because they want to. Consulting a few hours a week in their old field, teaching a skill, monetizing a hobby, selling something they make. The key difference from working, they're not dependent on it. When you're not relying on that income to survive, every dollar it generates is pure surplus. It doesn't replace spending. It adds to savings. Compound that optional income stream over several years of retirement, and you've quietly built a second layer of wealth accumulation that was never in the original retirement plan. It's bonus money from doing something you probably do anyway. And the 8th reason is that inheritances and windfalls often arrive late in the game. Statistically, Americans tend to inherit money in their 60s and 70s when aging parents pass. It's not something you plan for, and it varies enormously by family. But when it happens, it hits during retirement. And because your basic needs are already covered by your savings and social security, that inherited money doesn't disappear into expenses. It goes directly into your net worth. Same goes for other late career financial events. Selling a rental property you've held for decades, cashing out old stock options, settling an insurance claim. These windfalls tend to cluster in the back half of life, and in retirement, there's simply nowhere for that money to go except the asset column. Now, for a reality check. I'd be doing you a disservice if I left out the other side of this. None of what I just described happens automatically. It requires that you actually save during your working years, that you are not dragging credit card debt or a car payment into retirement, that you're withdrawing at a sustainable rate and living within your means. The retirees who get richer didn't get lucky. They made 1,000 small, boring, right decisions over 30 or 40 years. They maxed contributions when they could. They resisted lifestyle inflation. They didn't panic selling every market dip. And then they hit retirement, and all those decisions started paying dividends, sometimes literally. So the next time someone tells you retirement is scary, that you'll run out of money, that the math doesn't work, remember this. For millions of Americans who did the preparation, retirement isn't a financial cliff. It's the payoff. It's when the system finally tips in your direction. If you're still in your working years, this should feel like motivation. Every dollar you're putting away right now is quietly positioning you to be one of those people. Do you know someone like my Uncle Frank, a retiree who seems to be doing better than ever? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this hit differently than you expected, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this is worth sharing. I'll see you in the next one.